is it because these cars don't provide instant gratification? Now work with me here. Oh, listen to that. Welcome to the 718 Cayman GT4 PDK. Now in this video, what we're going to talk about is, well, we're going to review the car, we're going to talk about the PDK gearbox, because I have driven a manual 718 GT4, and I'm interested to see just how different they are, and is the GT4 PDK the better car? But also, why is it that we lust about Cayman GT4 so much? That's what we're going to try to unpick. But for now, let's get out of here, let's find some nice roads, and let's crack on. So before we kind of crack on, what is this? What is the Porsche Cayman GT4? Well, 4-litre flat 6, producing 420 brake horsepower, and when you open her up, she absolutely sings. Now the PDK variant is half a second quicker to 62 than the manual version, and some of you might think, well, why is that? Why is it quicker? Well, the gear shifts on the PDK are just massively fast, and also you get launch control. You also have to bear in mind that this car is now 30 kilograms heavier because of the PDK gearbox. Do you notice it? No, you don't. You really don't notice it at all. But the question I always ask myself is, why do we lust for this car? I mean, just listen to that. That in itself is reason to want one, right? If I slow it right down into first, listen. Wow. Wow. This thing is next level. You could just listen to that all day long, isn't it? And those gear shifts on the PDK are lightning quick. The other addition that you get with the PDK over the manual is you get an extra gear, which means that a lot of that kind of, well, part of my feedback per se was that the gearing on the GT4 was just too long. It was really long in the manual 981. It was long in the GT4 718, and now the PDK one with a 7th gear allows for the gears to come down a bit. It's not like drastically shorter. You still find yourself short shifting an awful lot, but it does feel more involving because you're changing through the gears a lot more. The best way I kind of think about describing the drivability of a Cayman GT4 is imagine driving a normal car and just doing everything a gear lower. And of course, with a GT4 comes GT product handling, and my word, around these roads, this thing just sticks to the flipping tarmac. It feels so good, so good. The other question is, you know, the 0 to 60 is in 3.9 seconds. I forgot to mention that, by the way, and it will go and do 188 miles per hour top speed. And as mentioned, the other kind of benefit with the PDK is launch control, and we will try that shortly. In terms of the pricing for the Cayman GT4, the PDK model, you're paying an extra few grand on top of what you would expect to pay from the standard car. The PDK box is an extra £2,000. And whilst this car, well, the 718 GT4 starts from, I think it's £76,000. This one is £97,000. I mean, that's pretty mad, isn't it? Here's a launch. That's sensational. Sensational. Now we slow it down into 30 mile an hour. Woo, I can breathe a bit. That is just tremendous. So why is this £97,000? Well, first of all, this comes with carbon ceramics. They're a £5 option. As you can see behind me, I have a massive roll cage, which is part of the Club Sport pack, which consists of those big roll cages behind me, a fire extinguisher. That costs 2,700 quid. Not cheap. And with that Club Sport pack, I feel that you lose an element of the usability of the space behind, because normally you'd be able to put some storage stuff back there. It makes it a little bit more difficult, but this is really for the track. It's not a very rattly cage either, so that's a good thing. The other thing that I get is these carbon bucket seats, the 981 bucket seats. They cost 3,700 quid. And whilst they're the seats that you want to have if you are tracking this car, for day-to-day use, I'm not so sure, because they're fixed buckets. Yes, you can raise them a little bit and stuff, but you can't move around. They are a bit of a pain to get in and out of. And actually, I don't know, maybe it's just me, I don't find them that comfortable. I mean, they are comfortable, but I prefer the standard seats. Personal preference. And now we move into the realms of why do we lust after the Cayman GT4 so much? Because most people who have a passion for cars, and you say to them, well, you know, what's a car you'd like to own? Most people will turn around and say, oh, Cayman GT4, Cayman GT4. But why? Why is that? Why does everyone want a Cayman GT4? You know, is it because, you know, it's cheaper than a 911 GT3? Well, that might have been the argument in the 981 days. The 981 days, you know, you could pick up a car for 60k, which is significantly cheaper than a 911 GT3, albeit they're different products. This is mid-engine, the 911 GT3 is rear mid. So I don't think that's the case, and especially now with the pricing of these, I think that argument's gone out the window a bit. Let me just spin her around. Turning circle's good. Is it because this is a hype machine, because social media loves this car? Is it? I don't know. I mean, yes, these are all over social media, but does that make a reason to lust after a car? I don't think so. Is it because these cars don't provide instant gratification? Now work with me here. Instant gratification is the term used when you want something instantly and you're not willing to wait. Now look at turbo cars. A Porsche 911 Turbo S would run rings around this car. Quite literally, it's so much quicker. This is 420 horsepower. It's naturally aspirated. So in order for you to really get the full amount of enjoyment and fulfillment from this car, you have to wait. You have to wait for it to reach that peak point in the power band. You have to wait for it to sing more and more until it rewards you, and it takes its time. You know, it's almost like these cars, they're just not there anymore. You look at electric cars now, it's just instant torque. You don't wait for anything. It's just, you want it, there it is. Turbo cars, you want it, there it is. This car, not only is it perfectly balanced, not only is it arguably one of the best performance sport cars you can buy, it sounds phenomenal. The power delivery, phenomenal. The handling is phenomenal. In terms of an all-round package, Is there a better sports car for the money? Not sure. And the thing is as well, you don't have to completely ring it out to get some nice noises from it. I mean, now we're entering a 30, I can kind of show you, just, you hear it humming. Just a nice subtle tone. Yes, it's not as loud as the 981, but what you do get an awful lot of is that induction noise. And I think this is why we lust after these cars so much, because one, you struggle to get them anyway, because Porsche dealership allocation is it's just a pain. I mean, I've been looking at GT4 RS allocation, and they're going to be like unicorns. You're just not going to find them. Now, the 718 manuals, there's a few of them on the market, but these, the PDKs, are going above list. Shock, of course, because supply versus demand, and Porsche don't get these out anywhere near as quick enough as myself and the rest of the public would like. So there's an element of, you always want what you can't have. So is that another reason? I don't know, it's an interesting theory, isn't it? But we're on Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s here. The sport suspension is brilliant. It really does. The front end on the GT4, I said it in my 718 manual video, the front end on the GT4 with a kind of rose bush link suspension is just out of this world. You can really just point the nose in, let the car follow through. Steering input is minimal, and it just rewards you the harder you drive it. Not only that, the GT4 for me looks beautiful. And it sounds great. Like, what more would you want? If you don't want the all singing, all dancing, big wing, big front spoiler, get a GTS. It sounds the same, and it goes the same. And my word, is this a car that you would flipping love to drive around roads like this? I'm telling you that now. There's a reason I purposely came to these roads, because I didn't just want to take the GT4 around a small little circuit. I wanted to find a nice rural area, somewhere that you would go on a Sunday morning to go and indulge and experience the performance car that you've gone and bought. Could you daily this? I think so. I think you could, and even more so in PDK form. I think it's even more of a reason to daily it, because I'll explain. I've been in PDK sport mode this entire time. In a moment, I will flick it back into PDK normal, and you'll see that what the car does, in fact, I'll do it now. I'll put it into PDK normal, get it out of manual into drive. The car will drive quite docile. It changes gears really early. It doesn't hold the revs out, whereas in PDK Sport, it feels like it's more on edge. It's ready to kind of go. And in PDK normal like this, I'm doing 37 miles per hour, and I'm in 6th gear at 1,500 RPM. I'm chilling. The normal sport chassis absorbs these bumps pretty well as well. Yes, there's a bit of road noise, but you'd expect that from a performance car. And then when you really want to go full tilt, PDK Sport on. Slow it down, line it up, hit the red line, listen to it sing, and send it. And you just get everything you'd ever want and need from arguably one of the best sports cars there is. Do I prefer the PDK over the manual? Yes, I do. The same way I prefer four-wheel drive cars over rear-wheel drive. This is a certain exception because of how balanced it is with its mid-engine. But the PDK for me just elevates this car more. It makes it more usable. It can be used in different scenarios. For me, this is the car to get. You get the shorter gear ratios, and you're only paying $2,000 more. That's it. $2,000 for gear shifts like that. Every time I drive a 718 Cayman GT4, I want one. Just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.